Hello, and welcome to the Author to Authority podcast. I'm Juanita Wootton-Radko, podcast co-host and grammar guru with another Writer's Workshop. The Writer's Workshop features shorter episodes that focus on the nuts and bolts of the writing process. On today's episode, we're looking at a sense of style, writing for your audience. But first, let's build our vocabulary with the word of the day. Expository. Something that's expository is intended to explain or describe something else. I enjoyed watching detective shows like CSI. I know when Captain Brass walks in, he will deliver the expository dialogue that fills us in on the victim's background. Hello, gentle listeners. Have you ever thought about your writing style? This is a word that can have a few different meanings, but today I'm referring to the format of writing that suits the purpose of your writing. Your format is the framework that sets the stage and your reader's expectations. An academic essay has to meet different criteria than a journalistic article or an email sent to the satellite office in California. In all three examples, spelling, grammar, and punctuation would be important to make your meaning clear. However, the way you present your content, the formality of your language, and your point of view is unique to each category. So what style works best? A great place to start is to consider your audience and your intended purpose. Is this writing meant to inform, persuade, or entertain? The obvious thought with an academic essay would be that it's written to inform. Yes, that's absolutely true. And especially when it's research topics or documented scientific studies that you're writing about, ones that report facts, the main point of the essays will be informational. However, all these writers wish to persuade their audience as well. Some of the benchmarks for academic writing would be 1, formal language. You're not going to find any slang, or at least if you do, it'll be in quotations as a sort of aside or humor. No contractions. The language is going to be literal and factual. There's great emphasis on precise terms and specific details, especially in scientific work where you'll see jargon, which is language specifically meant to describe that topic. Academic papers are written in an expository style without opinion. Ideally. Realistically, it's worth observing that we have to work really hard to keep any bias out of our writing, and sometimes we aren't completely successful. Journalism is another type of expository writing. Journalists are often given a target range for the number of words for their articles, which means that the writing must be clear, informative, and brief. Facts are going to be introduced as quickly as possible, knowing that the reader's attention span wanes with every additional paragraph. And in the case of newspapers, you might only have 1 inch to 2 inches worth of room for your story to be told. Now, in our third example, internal emails are personal conversations with coworkers, and they're usually sent to share or request information. The language used in business emails should be courteous, professional, and to the point. What's the difference between formal language and professional language? Well, personally, I tend to write with a more formal tone in my introductory emails to clients, greeting them with hello and good morning. And then I start using hi once we've established a relationship. So that would be the difference there, is that professional language is still very polite and a little more formal than our casual conversations. But once a relationship is in progress, then we don't have to be quite so reserved. It's always easier to move from formal to informal over time, and you can avoid offense if you begin a conversation from a place of respect. Hang in there and stick with it. Your personal writing voice changes and develops over time, but remembering your audience and the purpose of your message never goes out of style. It's all part of the challenging, creative process that gets you to your final goal, a professional, finished book that shares your message with the world. That's it for today's Writer's Workshop. I'm Juanita Wootton-Radko. Thank you for joining me on the Author to Authority podcast.